Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. And today I am doing version 2 of the pattern called Bucky by Zentangle. Last week I showed you this one, and I also showed a tile like this. This is the second version. And the difference is this pattern was shown in the original Zenthology that CZTs get, and this version was shown in the newer Zenthology. And I like them both. I've been playing with both of them, and so today I'm just going to show you how to do this one. Now I'm going to start by showing you the step out, and this is the newer one, and this is the older one. And the older one starts with a square grid that you divide into triangles, and then you make the hexagon, and then you do these auras, excuse me, inside and out of the hexagon. With this one, we start with straight lines again, but you don't make a square grid. Instead, you make a triangle grid. And then you put the dots in the center again, just like we did on that first one. But then it changes a lot. But I've had a lot of fun with it too. Let me show you this real quick. So this is the older grid, and this is how you start with the dots. And I did find, of course, that with that older grid, you can still make that newer pattern. Okay? It's just a little tilted, I guess is the way to say it. And here, this is the one that I showed last week. And then this is the newer grid. And just, hopefully that's not all confusing, but I just wanted to show you the difference, okay? And so this is going to be actually a very easy tile to do. And we're going to use a 3.5 inch Zentangle tile and my blending stump or tortillon, a graphite pencil. Any pencil will do. I'll be using a Micron 01. Any pen will do. And maybe my kneaded eraser. I probably won't need to use that though. Okay? And on this one, we're going to start with the corner dots. And you can make this grid as big as you want or as small. And I'm going to make mine fairly straight. We're not looking for perfect. Okay, and I'm going to divide this in half. It's easier for me to do this if I turn it for some reason. Okay, so we're not going to do a square grid. Instead, we're going to do a triangle grid. And now that I got that divided the way that I want it, I did it in pencil first, just in case you want to straighten it out. So now I'm just inking over my lines. And I think this one's a little thinner, so I'm going to go up just a little bit. And go ahead and fill in my border also. Excuse me. I think I do a little bit better line when I pull it toward me. Okay, and now we're going to do a triangle grid. And you may have a better way to do it. This one in the step out goes diagonally. You can do it any way you want in any size space that you have. But we have our straight lines, and then we want to add triangles. And the way that I like to do it is, and I'm making these big, I just go across like this to start my triangles. They don't have to be exactly the same. Okay, and I like to go down to where I know I'm below that point, and then put in my next lines just to kind of keep them about the same size. So I'm just going straight down and start my dot and go up and meet that line. Okay? If you wanted to, you could just do a straight line all the way across. But I just find that I don't like how mine turn out. I like it better when I do it this way. If you have an easier way of doing a triangle grid, I would love to know it. Okay. And one more time. I have done this pattern so many times in the last couple of weeks that I think I can do it in my sleep, and I probably have been doing it in my sleep. When I first started doing Zentangle, I dreamed about it almost every night because I was doing it so much. Okay, so there's that step. And the next step is we're going to put a dot in the center of each of these. Okay. Just guess. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then the dot would be about like that on these sides. Okay. I rarely get these right in the center, but it doesn't matter. We are not looking for perfection. This is not a contest, and we're not being graded. Just enjoy drawing. Okay. So the next thing that we do in these steps is we're going to put lines from the dot to each corner. Well, that wasn't very straight. Okay. And this one, the top of that would go straight down to there, and then we'll go to that corner. It's actually a very easy pattern when you follow these steps. wasn't quite as complicated, at least in my mind. The original Bucky was a little bit complicated, but after I tried it a few times, it got easy, and I enjoyed it. But this one is even easier. Okay, again, we're just going from those dots to the corner of each triangle. You see these little stars beginning to show up. We call that a meta pattern. When you have these simple patterns and then another pattern shows up. Okay, that would go straight down. Now this one was not on the 102 Tangles of Zentangle poster, but when I was going through the Zenthology books, I just happened to notice, because I knew this was one of the older patterns from Zentangle, and I just happened to notice when flipping back and forth between the old Zenthology and the new one that the step out was different. Now the newer step out is only in my Zenthology book, but I have shown you exactly what the steps are, so you can easily follow it. Okay. All right, there we go. Now I like to fill in these centers a little bit. I think it just helps them to meet up. Okay, when you get to these edges, you can still do it. Where all of these meet in the middle. So I have my little dot. Here's one on the side. Here's one. Okay. So now we have the grid finished. See how much faster this one went than the one from last week. Okay, and then what makes this one really pop is when you put shading in there. Now, what I did on this one was cross-hatching, and I just enjoyed doing it. I did the same thing here, and then I put shading on one side, okay? But I'm just going to show you shading, so you don't have to watch me do a lot of cross-hatching. And you could use colored pencils. Let me show you this one. I tried using different colors. I wasn't real thrilled with how this one came out, but you can see that you could use colored pencils or watercolor brushes and fill these in with different colors. I'm just going to use my graphite pencil. And if you look at this, these parts of the stars, if you want to call it that, I see stars. they line up kind of in a row like this. So I'm just going to pick one of these. Let's pick this one. and I'm just going to fill it in. So that's a star that's pointing down and going in this direction. And if you watch, you can see that this stays on this line, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. We're looking for the points that match that. And this one would kind of be there, okay? So the next row down that looks kind of like that is this one. So we're just going to add graphite. You can make this as dark or as light as you want. Okay, the next one that looks like that is this row. Okay, and I'm bothered by that line, so I'm going to remove it. Okay, now the next one down would be this one. Okay, and like I said, you could make those as dark as you want. You could make one edge a little bit darker, so I'm just going to add a little bit darker right across that edge. I did that on one of my other tiles and I liked how it looked. So again, make this your art. Okay, and then get your tortillon or blending stump. If you don't have that, you could use a Q-tip or your finger. When Rick and Maria first started, she just used her finger to blend. And then we're just softening that, kind of spreading it to make it look better. And I do have my blending stump kind of flat like that. I'm just using the edge. If you happen to use the tip too much and it gets pushed down, then you can take a paper clip and push that back out. Okay. All right, so we got one side done. And now we're just going to pick one that's at least, you know, got some space between here and here. So that one's not touching this one, and it's not, you know, right next to this other one, if that makes sense. And we're just going to fill it in. Okay, so I picked that row. So now we're going to do the same thing. I'm doing it a little bit darker, right on that edge, and then softening it as I come down. But I'm not doing a straight push like this, okay? Because that's not going to blend very well. See that? You're still going to see that harsh line, where if you'll keep your pencil on its side, then you get a nice blend and no harsh lines, okay? All right, so here we go. Across here. And fill it in a little bit. That would be the same as this one. And we can kind of see a little bit there. All right, so it's pointing down. This would be the same. And just remember that it's going to go straight across, kind of in a row. Okay, next one. All right, come down to this one. And then it would be this one. And then get your blending stump, soften it. All right, there you go. So that is the same as, so what I've shown you here. And on this one, the my initial line is not exactly straight, which is fine. Okay. And this one is on like a pizza box. And I did kind of a maroon pastel pencil, and then I did white chalk pencil on there. And I used the brown pen. I really like how that one turned out. And, okay. So I started to do this one. I was going to do it all the way across and then blend them, and then I decided to do it on a smaller tile. But here you can see that if you did the old version in this triangle grid, that it just comes out a little bit more octagonal, hexagonal, yes, hexagonal. And then here you still have the star. Okay, but I did, on this tile, blend them together. So I started in this direction with the old Bucky, and this was using the new grid, and then from this way with the new Bucky, and then just kind of merge them into each other. This is a gray tile using a blue pen and a blue pastel pencil, and that was fun. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me show you again the new step outs, and you're welcome to take a picture of that. I don't have my name on there, but if you use it, I would appreciate that you give me credit for those step outs. This one is available online. If you go to tanglepatterns.com, there is a link to the Zentangle blog that shows these step outs. Okay. All right. So this was kind of a short video. There's that. Let's see if I can. Oh, nope, can't move out anymore. I've got a new setup with my iPhone. And I've got it at this point so that I can see my screen while I'm recording. So there we go. There's the new Bucky compared to the old Bucky. And I think this was one of my favorites with the old Bucky. But I also really liked that one. I had fun with this. But I'm ready to move on to something new. And I'm sure you are also. So thank you again for joining me today. And hope you have a great week. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will. And I will see you next time. Bye.